We've got the ROG Ally for a couple of weeks now, and in this video, we're going to tell you the 5 reasons why we love this device and the 5 reasons why we don't. So let's start with the first reason why we love this device, and I think it's pretty obvious because it is the most powerful portable PC in the market right now. Using the latest AMD mobile CPU, it shows in the gaming experience. Playing Forza at 1080p on it, allowing the game to optimize the graphics settings, it can easily achieve 70 FPS and looks really good at the same time. In fact, with multiple games that we have tested this on compared to the Steam Deck, it does and can achieve better performance. This includes games like Witcher 3, Automata, Cyberpunk 2077, just to name a few. The second reason is the size, because it is thinner and smaller than the Steam Deck for sure. Although it doesn't really matter to me, but I do agree it is much easier to take it around with you or fit it into more bags, unlike the Steam Deck. So if you are constantly traveling, then the ROG Ally will be a better companion for you because of its portability. But that is also a problem that I will get into later in this video. The third and the next reason is the display. Straight up, it is a much better display compared to the Steam Deck, and in fact, all the other portable PCs out there. A full HD display, 120Hz refresh rate, punchy and a bright display. It is just an overall beautiful display to play any type of games you are planning to play. It is also nice that it is the same screen size as the Steam Deck, but in a smaller body. The fourth reason, the thermals. Inside the Ally are 2 fans which blow out heat from the top. Having 2 fans does make sense because it has quite a powerful processor, but at the same time, 2 fans means that both of them don't need to work as hard as a singular fan. This means that it stays quiet and doesn't feel hot as well. Now, when the fans do kick up, I think it's still fine because the speakers on this are pretty good and it drowns out the sound of the fan. Maybe we should have added speakers into this list, but I think that there is a better point that I want to bring up. So the fifth point comes down to the fact that it's running on Windows rather than a Linux operating system like the Steam Deck. In the Steam Deck, I had to jump through many hoops just to get Battle.net running and Diablo 4. But on the Ally, because it is technically a Windows computer, it's basically the same thing as how you would install it on your computer back at home. The same goes for Epic Games, Game Pass, Uplay, Origin, or whatever EA is calling it right now, and GOG. If you have installed any of these apps on your computer, it is literally the same thing. Now, for the things that we do not like about the ROG Ally, and the first thing is the buttons. It's very mushy. It is not only just mushy, it's also very squishy in my opinion. It doesn't have this solid feel of pressing like the Steam Deck has. It is nice that it's bigger, but if you're playing games that require you to do quick time events, it's kind of yuck, if that makes sense. And yes, it did get stuck once or twice when I was using it, so you kind of have to like slide the button out of it so it gets unstuck. But again, once or twice, so I'm not going to make such a big fuss out of it. Next is the battery life. Now, just for your information, the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally have the same amount of battery capacity. But that's also the problem because the ROG Ally has a higher resolution display, a brighter display, a higher refresh rate, and it's running on a more powerful processor. Based on my experience, this gives you a lower gameplay time. If I could play Diablo 4 on the Steam Deck for 2 hours, it would be lesser on the Ally by up to 30 minutes. If you do bring the resolution down, keeping the wattage the same, capping the frame rates to 60 FPS, then it kind of becomes pointless because then you're not utilizing the full potential of the ROG Ally. Now the next point is the 120Hz display, because I think that personally it's a bit pointless because most of the AAA games that I've been playing on this cannot achieve 120 frames per second. Sure, some games can run at higher frame rates when you plug in the charger, but you have to enable the super ultra turbo mode or whatever it's calling it. We'll just circle it on the video for you, which enables you to turn on the 30-watt mode. And yes, you can get close to the FPS like I said, but it would mean that you are tethered to the wall, which in that case, you might as well buy a mid-range laptop or even a desktop computer because you will probably get more better performance for just a little bit more money. Other ways is obviously reducing the resolution and the graphics, which then again comes down to the fact, will you be utilizing the full power of the ROG Ally? Okay, and now the next point is something that people are definitely going to argue with me, and it's the feel of holding this device. Now, I have big hands, and this device is obviously not made in mind with people who have bigger hands. The main problem here is that there is no bumps at the back for your hands to grip and hold. This reminds me of the Nintendo Switch, which I hated to use because it makes my ring and pinky finger numb when I'm holding it for long periods of time. The Steam Deck gave me no problems with this, but with the Ally, I find myself readjusting my hands quite a bit. Now, I did say that it's really nice that this device comes with Windows 11, but that is also the problem. It is kind of buggy. One example is having Forza 5 run on it. You would think that launching it from the Game Pass app would be the way, but it's actually more better launching it from the Armory Crate software. Then there are things like using the analog to control the mouse, which would stop working if an app window comes into the focus, like Steam of all things. I also experienced crashes like on Diablo for a good 2-3 times of launching it before the game finally runs. If you plan to get the Ally and expect that it will launch up games with no issue, you might need to think again. In the terms of it being a gaming console, I would consider the ROG Ally to be a desktop computer and the Steam Deck to be a PS5 or even an Xbox controller. Because on the Steam Deck, if the game is verified by Steam, it will literally have no problems launching up. But sometimes on the ROG Ally, it's just a bit finicky. Now, I am sure that a lot of these issues will be patched out in the coming weeks because when the Steam Deck launched, it was a very buggy mess. And I expect the same thing with the ROG Ally because Asus is taking out a lot of software updates and we have seen multiple BIOS updates in the past month. So, in just a matter of time, this will probably be a pretty decent device for you to pick up if the Steam Deck is not really your thing. But if you're willing to get around the issues with Windows on a device that is technically a proxy of a desktop computer, for the lack of a better word, then get the Ally because they've been doing a lot of promotions on this device. And the most important part, especially if you're living in a country like Malaysia, you will get warranty support for this device. But if you buy a Steam Deck, you're kind of on your own. So guys, there you have it. That is the 5 reasons why we love the ROG Ally and 5 reasons why we don't. I think that it's great that the market now has 2 competitors for a decent Windows operating system on a handheld console. Although the Steam Deck doesn't have Windows on it, but you can install it anyway. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Will you be getting the Steam Deck, or do you think that the ROG Ally is much more superior, even though it kind of feels like it's an early access product? But I mean, Asus has been committed to supporting this, and I'm really looking forward to see how far the ROG Ally will go. Can it beat the popularity of the Steam Deck? Let me know in the comments below, and of course, while you're there, subscribe, like, share this video, and I'll see you in the next video.